Today we're going to be looking at how to take advantage of Easters as a novice adjudicator. Let's start by looking at what you should be doing before the tournament, before talking a little bit later about what to do during the tournament. The most important thing to do is to upskill and prepare. Judging, like debating, is a skill. As such, it's important to put in the work to make sure you're able to improve. Let's talk about what specific things you can be doing in the lead up to Easters to develop your skills as an adjudicator. Most obviously, adjudicate some debates. In the lead up to Easters, there are often tournaments specifically designed to prepare people for Easters. Try and find one in your local area and attend it. If you can't do that, speak with an experienced member of your society to organize an opportunity to adjudicate. This might look like judging at your internals or setting up a debate during the week to give yourself an opportunity to practice. Secondly, when you're practicing adjudicating, seek out as much feedback as you can. This feedback can be from other judges in the debate or even debaters themselves. It may seem intimidating to ask people for feedback, but remember, there's nothing debaters like talking about more than debating itself. When you ask for feedback, try and ask specific questions. The more specific you can be with your questions, the better you'll be able to work out exactly what steps you need to take in order to improve. Thirdly, seek out advice from more experienced adjudicators. Importantly, when you seek out advice from more experienced adjudicators, ask them about the parts of adjudicating that you're finding confusing at the moment. So for instance, if you don't fully understand counter models, they might be able to explain how they work to you. Or if you don't fully understand how to weigh impacts in the debate, they might be able to help you out by giving you some good examples. If you have specific questions about the parts of adjudicating you find confusing, they'll be able to answer them better than just watching a debate and hoping you understand it over time. And fourthly, watch videos like this. Well, like this, but the ones made by people who are much, much better than I. Adjudication cores from majors all across the world have generated a truly extraordinary amount of training content on all things to do with judging. Although nothing can replace watching real debates and learning by doing adjudicating, understanding the core concepts of adjudicating is essential and something you can only understand through training material. There's no topic that hasn't been covered in depth by some of the world's most prolific and renowned adjudicators, so make sure you're using the internet to your advantage. To put all of that together, give yourself as many opportunities as you can to judge debates, get feedback on your performance, and seek out resources to help you master the actual mechanics of adjudicating. Now, let's talk about the tournament itself. There's two big things we need to talk about here. Firstly, the adjudicating part of it, and secondly, the more human, fun, everything else part of it. Let's look at the adjudicating part of it to start off with. The first thing to keep in mind is that adjudicating at Easters is not just a performance, it's also rehearsal. There's a ton of opportunities to get feedback on how you're doing during the tournament, and you should be open to hearing about any mistakes you're making along the way. Just like before, seek feedback out from a wide variety of sources. Nobody adjudicates perfectly 100% of the time, and it's okay to ask for help along the way. Secondly, when Easters is over, reflect on what you've learned. While you may naturally improve your skills over time, the quickest way to get better is to take a conscious approach to your progression. Think about what parts of adjudications you were getting constructive feedback on most often, and then reflect on those parts of your adjudications more often than other parts. Reflect on where you've come from and what specific things you want to do in order to be able to get to where you want to be. Over time, you'll find yourself improving much faster than you ever thought you would be able to. Now, let's turn to look at the other parts of Easters, the more fun bits. Remember, Easters isn't just about the debates themselves. It's about everything happening around the debates. Firstly, make sure that you meet new people during the tournament. Strike up conversations with people you've just adjudicated with, attend the socials, spend time with your contingent. A truly staggering amount of debaters meet some of their dearest lifelong friends at Easters. Secondly, have some fun. Like I mentioned before, go to the socials. Try soak in and enjoy the debates you watch. Go for coffee. Treat Easters like an opportunity to do something strange and weird and new and fun, because it is strange and it is weird, but it's also new and it's also fun, and it's something that you should be taking advantage of in that respect. And thirdly, learn some stuff about the world. Debating is an intellectual pursuit in the kind of non-cringy use of that phrase, and there's a huge amount of interesting people with interesting stories to tell. Attending a major and not learning new things about the world is a really hard thing to do. There's so much information flying about, it would be basically impossible to leave without having a refreshed perspective on, say, a different nation or a different culture, or just a different way of thinking about argumentation. Overall, make sure that you're learning stuff about the world around you and you're learning stuff, importantly, about the people around you. Overall, don't stress yourself out too much. Debating is a hobby, and it's not something that is worth beating yourself up over or pushing yourself too hard about. Don't get too wrapped up in the pursuit for perfection or in constant improvement, and make sure you're giving yourself lots of rest. Make sure you're hydrating. Improvement is great and something we should all strive for, but don't forget that the human part of debating has to come first. Best of luck.